So I'm a little late to the George Santos party in terms of making fun of him. It's actually really sad. Like, you laugh, but you're just like, this isn't funny because this is supposed to be the government. But I'll share some post-mortem thoughts. Okay, so the only true thing you can say about George Santos is that he was a U.S. representative. I don't know if that means governor or senator. I don't know that much about United States law or government. But when he goes to jail, he can actually tell people he was a U.S. member of Congress or whatever it is, the House. And it'll be true. And it occurred to me, what work did George Santos do while he was in office? I don't think he did any work. He just came in and was a spectacle. I don't think he did a day of work or an hour of actual work. And it makes me wonder, like, do any of them do any work? Right? Marjorie Laserbeam, Bobo the Congress clown. I mean, most of these people, Matt Gaetz, what's his name, Ted Cruz, they seem to have plenty of time for their podcasts and for their TV appearances. That Kristen Sinema, like, she's able to teach a college course. She's like going on safari or whatever the hell she's doing. Like, nobody has that much time on their hands. So do these people actually do any work, or do they just show up to vote and then leave and go home and then just, like, essentially play video games? I mean, I know Donald Trump didn't do any work. He spent like 9 hours a day, like, watching TV while he was president, right? He didn't do any work. So, I mean, and we're expected, like, citizens, I'm Canadian, but still, we're expected to work hard when these clowns are just sitting around doing nothing and making asses of themselves. In terms of what is George Santos going to do now, I mean, sky's the limit, right? I mean, that's the most opposite land statement I've ever said. He's got nothing left to do, but what I want him to do, more than appearing on Dancing with the Stars or appearing on RuPaul's Drag Race, I bet you he's going to do that. I want to actually read his autobiography. Because unlike Marjorie Laserbeam, her book didn't sell, because the thing about her is she might be a stupid clown, but she's so hateful, she's so filled with anger and hatred that it's hard to, like, pay attention to her without kind of, like, puking. But George Santos, on the other hand, I mean, he's just funny. So, I mean, his autobiography would be the best autobiography in terms of comedy ever written. And it's funny how after they voted him out, he goes, he basically says, I don't want anything to do with these people. These people are terrible. I don't want to work here. It's like, wait, you made every effort to stay, right? It's basically after he got fired, he announces he quit. That's like asking a girl out on a date, and when she says no, you announce that you rejected her and she's not good enough for you. I mean, it's God, we did this when we were 6 years old. I'm just going through the highlights of this ass wipe. He killed a dog. Let's not forget that. He killed a dog. He took the money. He raised money to save a dog. And then he let the dog die, and he spent the money on himself. I mean, that's really, like... You know, and I've said before, these people are funny, but if they have power, they become very... You get to see how evil they really are. Like Trump. Trump would be a funny jackass in every other situation, but you give them power, then you see how violently angry and destructive they are. It's like the class clown that you make fun of and you laugh at, and oh my god, he's such a nerd, he's so weird, he's so goofy, he's so stupid. Oh my god, he lies about everything. But that guy, if he ever got power, he would be like a nightmare. He would be like a monster. And don't think he doesn't pay attention to everybody laughing at him and mocking him. If George Santos could be president, you would see the most monstrous things you could imagine. In fact, now that I think of it, he should run for president. That would be the best course of action at this point for him. For many reasons. For attention, for comedy, and it would be keeping in character. And he could just like make up lies, knowing that nobody believes him anyways, but just do it. He could run for president against Trump. But I'll tell you the difference between Santos and Trump. Okay, so okay, aside from Santos spending campaign money on Botox, him spending campaign money on adult porn sites, okay, at least Trump would have spent the campaign money on having an affair with a porn star, right? Like, aim higher next time if you're elected into Congress, George. Hire a real prostitute. Don't just jerk off to online porn with your donor money. Go take a trip to Amsterdam. Okay, another point that's just important. It's a shallow point, but he's an extremely ugly, stupid-looking guy. He looks like a Muppet. He looks like Grimace. He's just so ridiculous looking. And I'm curious, would anybody even offer him a reality show? Like, he's so, what's the word? Toxic. I don't even think they would let him on, like, Dancing with the Stars or that Masked Singer show, you know? Nobody wants to touch him. I mean, like, who would ever hire him for anything? I wouldn't let him walk my dog. I wouldn't leave him alone in my house for 1 second, because I know that he'd be looking for things to steal. So he won't even be welcomed in anybody's house, let alone be allowed to be a cashier in a supermarket again. Like, it's, even if he doesn't go to jail, like, I don't see how he makes any money. I don't see how he lives the rest of his life. And another difference between him and Trump, if I haven't already mentioned this, is that people actually believe Trump's lies. Nobody believes Santos's lies. Like, nobody. And I'm sure a psychiatrist would speculate that George Santos's childhood must have been something really, really sad. To turn somebody into this. You know, like, I heard one anecdote once about how when somebody was a kid, they lied, and somebody said, okay, if you tell the truth, you won't get in trouble. And they told the truth, and they still got in trouble. So the lesson they learned from that was that don't ever tell the truth, because you'll always get in trouble. Always lie. So he must have learned some lessons that taught him that it's important to lie. And I wonder about him as well as I also wonder about Trump. Does he worry about going to jail? Or, like, how far from reality is he? Right? Because when you tell this many lies all the time, you stop understanding reality yourself. Like, you become dangerously close to, what Trump is going through, which is like the early throes of dementia. Like, what does it do to a person's mind to lie all the time? A couple questions that I still would like some answers to are, does he have a husband? Because I don't know, I've never seen his husband. Why? Does his husband exist? Whose baby was that he was using as a shield? Who would trust him with their baby in the first place? Who's the baby? And Republicans are so totally screwed for sticking with him throughout this. It's going to take them forever to live this down. And I think that Republicans, I've said before, they should have a new dress code in the House when they're in session. They should dress as clowns. No more shirt and tie. They just all dress like clowns. And I'm glad the news picked up on the fact that George Santos was only possible because of Trump, right? Trump opened the door for somebody who's like a complete liar, and he inspired every liar in the world to run for office, because he showed them that, like, if you lie, you can get ahead in life. And 2 more points about George Santos. I believe he should have shown up for his expulsion vote dressed as Kitara Ravache. That would have been the best. And I would have applauded him. I would be like, okay, that is how you do it. That is how you exit. That is how you end your story. Because you've gone this far, you know, it's just the same way I think, like, Bill Cosby, when he was on the stand, he should have said, "It wasn't me, Judge, it was the Jell-O pudding." And then I would have been like, okay, all right. You know, I'll give you that. At least you're making a mockery of the whole thing. And finally, I think I've held back on making fun of this guy or girl, because you can't make fun of somebody who's already making fun of themselves more than you ever could. Like, for example, I was thinking earlier, like, what I might have said to him while he was leaving after his expulsion, had I been a reporter. And what I would have wanted to say is, "You look beautiful, Kitara." But you know what? He would have turned around and said, "Thank you." Right? Because he doesn't care. And I'd be like, well, I wasn't serious. I was trying to insult you. So you see, you can't even insult him, because he takes pleasure, or seemingly, in making a fool of himself. Yeah, anyways, that's it. Please subscribe or like or comment if you like this material, because it'll inspire me to make more. If you support gays, click like. If you respect blacks, comment. If you think women are people too, click the notification bell. And if you care about sick children, subscribe.